With Anna Diamond. I'm 25 years old. I'm from London. I'm going to talk to her about her 7 months in solitary confinement in Iran's notorious prison, Evin. She was detained at the airport at the age of 19 when she was visiting her grandparents in Iran in 2014, and 18 months later stopped in the streets by a van containing Revolutionary Guards who blindfolded her and took her to a court where she was charged with espionage, blasphemy, and corruption on earth. Anna, it's really nice to talk to you. Thank you for coming here. How are you, first of all? How are you feeling?
I'm very grateful of all feelings
Yes.
to be back in London,
And where did you get back to London? What year was it?
last year I came back in summer of 2018.
Right. So then talk me through what happened, because I know that you were just 19, you'd gone to visit your grandparents from London
Yeah.
in Iran. And when you arrived at the airport, you were on your own and your passport was confiscated. Now,
Yes.
what exactly happened there?
So I flew back to Iran, really looking forward to kind of going back and reuniting in a way almost with my heritage and with my roots. And yeah, I mean, they asked me at the first checkpoint, or like I guess it's like a customs agent, he asked me where was I coming from. I mean, he asked me several questions, but then one thing that kind of stuck out was that he asked me where was I coming from, and I said the UK, and he asked me if that's where I was living, and I said yes, I live in London and that's where I study. And at that point he kind of I guess grew more interested, because I looked like a very normal Iranian girl. My hijab was on the stricter side, so actually I probably didn't look quite like normal Iranians who kind of went back from UK to Iran, because it was my first time, so I wasn't really accustomed to the way they, the fashionable hijab styles and the mantors. So I don't know what rang his bell, but so he said, oh, he will go back to the staff room, and then he will be coming to ask me further questions in a short period of time. And that's what he did, and he went with my Iranian passport and my European one. And then he returned back with the passports, and he said, can I kind of follow him? He had some follow-up questions, and that's where it kind of all began.
Well, I know for a fact that you were very young, and you were sort of on a travel ban in Iran and without your passport. And 18 months later, you were walking down the street where a van kind of blocked your way, and these Revolutionary Guards bundled you in, blindfolded you, put your head in between your knees, and took you to a court. And I think you've told me before that you were taken after that straight into solitary confinement, charged with espionage, corruption on earth, and blasphemy. How did you feel? What happened when you saw that cell when you arrived?
Well, so when my passports were confiscated, I wasn't told that I had a travel ban, but shortly after, I think it was about 7-8 days after that, I was invited to come and pick up my electronic devices that had also been taken at the airport. And then we traveled to Tehran, to this address they had given us over the phone, and actually that's when they said that they are investigating me, and that's kind of when the travel ban started. And then, as you said, a year and a half later I was formally arrested, and during those year and a half years that I was kind of under travel ban, I was frequently, as was my father as well, invited or kind of demanded really that we attend these interrogations at a secret location in various parts of Tehran. And we did so. We complied because we thought that it was the worst case scenario would be a misunderstanding, but then we would kind of resolve it if they cooperated and then did as they asked us to do. I mean, going to Evin and being in to a Dua Aleph, as they refer to it, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps solitary cell, which is kind of, that's where a lot of the national security prisoners are held in, was really surreal, and it was quite an out of body experience. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was actually happening, and it's one of those moments where you think to yourself, is this a setup? Like, we're like,
Mm.
is this a misunderstanding? What is happening? And as you said, I was so very young, and I had been brought up in UK. I had a very European upbringing. Like, none of this was normal to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had heard other people be taken into solitary, right, left. So like, it was just very, very different, absurd, and just very abnormal, really.
Yeah. What was the cell like? So talk me through when you arrived. It was your first night. You told me it's freezing cold January.
Yeah.
And what is in that cell?
There was nothing in the cell. I mean, it was quite late when I arrived.
Any
And
bedding or
no, nothing. The first cell I was in, it was just me and a bunch of dead bugs. And there was nothing, no bedding, no beds, I mean, no curtains, nothing. It was just walls, and a tiny window kind of near the roof. I couldn't see outside, but you could kind of vaguely tell the time of the day. And it was very cold, and so I had to ask for blankets, and after some time they did give me a few blankets, but you had to sleep on the floor. And they, afterwards I heard that every cell has to have a Quran, and I didn't even have a Quran because I was accused of blasphemy. So they said, this unholy person isn't allowed to touch a religious book.
What were the guards like with you? Obviously they're all female guards and a female person. What were they like with you? Were they aggressive? What were they?
No, so my interrogators were all male, but the wardens, the females the guards that would take us out of the cell and then kind of escort us to the interrogation room, they were all female. No, not at all. I don't think they were aggressive, apart from a few of them. If anything, I almost felt that they needed more help than I did in a way, because they, sometimes, and perhaps this is quite in a way wrong that I did that, but when you have this vacuum of time given to you, 24 hours in a cell, you try to make up things to do. And so I would listen to the conversation they would have through this thick metal door by pressing my ear against the door, and sometimes I would hear that they have taken out these massive loans that they